everybody. Welcome to the pilot episode of the PogCast. I am XJooJee, your host, and with me today I have...
Crybaby Snow.
Sneaky Prawn.
Octa.
Zero Force.
And today we're going to be talking about fucking everything mainly to do with video games. So boys, what do you want to say?
You had a little list going, didn't you? You had a little list going.
Oh yeah. I got a little list of shit.
Yeah. Best games. Old games.
Yeah. I think we should probably just talk about like Game of the Year contender.
Yeah.
At the moment, and then we can just sort of branch off from that.
For sure.
Well, starting from there, like, what have you guys played that came out this year?
Celeste.
Celeste is a good
That's
game.
it.
I've watched you play that. Yeah.
Not bad, yeah.
Monster Hunter World. Although
Oh,
I don't
did
think
play that. No, that came out last
You
year.
can't. No, it came out this year, February.
Monster
Yeah,
Hunter.
but it also came out last year for PS4.
No, PS4 came out in February. It didn't come out.
Really?
Yeah, it didn't come out
Monster
this
Hunter.
year.
Yeah,
on
Monster
PC.
Hunter's this year.
It came out on PC while I was away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which was in
July, August.
No,
I
no.
played
It came out October.
It's
not
October now. No.
No,
it was June.
August.
July?
August.
Yeah, it was
exactly
like-
like Jake said.
But
The
yeah.
one person that hasn't played it knows.
I made a character in Monster Hunter, so technically I've seen the start of
it
it.
was
There you
absolutely
My
great.
character in
game.
Monster Hunter looks just like me, and it's the creepiest.
Yeah,
fucking
it does.
thing ever.
Absolutely.
You're good at that. You always do that. That look
That's an
perfect.
uncanny skill, character creation.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I'm a very generic face. I'm beard hair and fucking.
Is it better than all of the stuff that those NBA games are trying to pull off? Do
I haven't played it.
you remember
I
like
played
that
it.
facial scan thing?
Dude,
that they
never
had?
once did that
true.
work.
It's
It was
way
always blown out on
Oh,
the
yeah.
lighting. Like, it'd
Oh,
always
yeah.
be, it would be my perfect face, and then half of it would just be, like, white. I'm like, I'm already pale as is, and then it was just blown the fuck out.
It's
Never
like, it's
ever
like
worked.
human color, and then it's like you're a sheet of paper.
I always
Yeah.
wanted it to work.
No, I've never tried it. Every time I played an NBA game, I'd make the exact same guy. It was the darkest skin tone you could get, long ass dreads, a beard, and his name was Dingo Lacey. So, every NBA game I've ever played.
You know, I remember a guy I went to high school with once made a tweet about NBA, like 2K, where he was like, I wonder if, like, black people, when they play 2K, they make, like, a 5'4" fundamentals white point guard. And I was like, I make that. I felt like I fucked up. Everyone's making these Russell Westbrook 6'10" athletic point guards, and I was like, I'm making a fundamentals man. Shooting, I'm a passer first.
I want to post up like now.
Speaking of NBA 2K19 out this year.
Yeah.
Oh my
Who's played
god.
it?
I haven't played it. I haven't played an
I've-
NBA. So I played last year's 2K18. And
Wasn't the guy at the market trying to sell you the 2K19?
he was, yeah. So basically what NBA has fallen into is, like, the curse has fallen into is the same thing a lot of games have fallen into.
It's
you got to pay.
fucked.
You got to pay a lot of money to make your character worth it type
Anything,
deal.
right,
Yeah. So like you can grind. You can't, like, it has the option to grind out the what is it called?
VC.
VC. Yeah, you pay a lot of money and then you spend that VC into making your character. So each character is scored out of 100,
Right.
and you start, I want to say, at a baseline of 60, and you're pretty
Yeah.
shit
Right.
if you're at 60. And
Garbage. Like,
Yeah.
me playing NBA. Dude,
The 5'4".
It's the 5'4" fundamentals except I can't pass. Dude, no, VC is like, yeah, so I have played every single 2K game back to like 2009. Like, NBA is my sport.
It's your
I'm obsessed with basketball, and I've played every single 2K.
we need
This
to have
is
another conversation about basketball.
Sports podcast is coming up. No, this is the first 2K that I have not bought and have not played. I know we've banned phones. I had to look this up. I remembered. Kotaku posted an article that summarizes 2K19 perfectly. The headline is, NBA 2K19 is a nightmarish vision of our microtransaction stuffed future.
Yeah.
And the picture is a player spinning a fucking wheel with VC on it. And that is like, the game is brutal. Like, you start off like useless. Again, talking about card
Completely
game stuff.
useless.
You have to buy the game outright for like $80 or whatever. And then you have to literally sink like $200 into it.
It's just
Or
like,
you just can't
that.
play the game. You just
Fuck
can't.
that.
or like, if you're going to grind up to a very good character or something, you're playing 3 seasons. But,
Yeah.
and
How long does a
there's
season
52 games a season.
82.
82, sorry.
82
And
games
how
a
long-
season.
How long is a game?
Well, depends how long you sim it for. It
You
might
can
be like
set it,
5, but like I'm playing it 5-minute quarters, 20 minutes a game,
Right.
82 games.
That's
Ugh.
a lot.
That's too
One
many.
season. You play like 3 seasons and then you're pretty good. You're somewhere around the 85s. Like, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
That's-
It's disgusting.
Crazy.
Mm.
That's all fucking sports games.
But like I remember
Yeah.
playing last year's, and by all reports, this year's is actually not as bad as last year's.
Last year's was really
Last
bad.
year's was like that was it for me. But I remember playing it, and I was playing My Career, and I remember getting so frustrated, and I would just like fucking smash my controller off the desk, and I pull my laptop out, and I just was like NBA 2K Reddit, and I remember like clicking on it. This was like day 1 or 2 into the game, and I remember genuinely expecting to see posts being like, "This is getting out of hand. This is crazy," and nothing. Like
Yeah.
everyone's just like, "This is the greatest game," and like you either put the money in or you don't. But no one called it out. Like no one was like bringing it up.
because we're definitely in a time where everyone's calling out games like
Like Battlefront 2,
Battlefront, yeah.
like
Yeah.
that game was ripped to shreds because it was pay to win. It
Mm.
was absolutely
Yeah.
pay to win
it
at the
was
start.
totally not fucking pay to win.
It was at the start. It's not anymore.
It was pay to win, but you didn't have to pay and you could still win.
It's
Yeah,
it's pay to win
yeah,
by
but that's-
logic.
It's-
I mean,
Like the idea that like you can buy abilities that will make you better.
You're right,
But
you're
it's not
exactly right.
necessarily pay to win.
yeah, you're exactly right. I just really like that game, and I'm fucking sad that it was.
But that's
dealt
also
the
like
fate it was dealt.
Yeah.
that's also like the time that we're in as well. Is like recreational outrage. People
Oh, for
love to get mad about
Yeah.
anything and everything.
oh
Just
yeah.
say
Yeah.
this
And I think-
wooden deck was not wooden. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many generations of people that offends? Wood makers?
No, but like, I feel like especially like a lot of the stuff that we're into, like the movies and the games and the comics and all that, have like some of the angriest fans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And note that I say angriest fans. Like we still love all of this stuff, but we're mad.
Yeah.
We're real mad.
Yeah.
I love getting mad. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen every Star Wars movie
Yeah.
minimum 3
Oh,
times.
I was gonna say
Star
you have
Wars-
the pinnacle right there.
Star Wars fans
Yeah.
are the worst. Like I'm a Star Wars fan, and we're the fucking worst.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like-
You know, you
I
go.
was gonna say, did Luke need a drink out of the nipple? No. Did that make it like burn
But-
George Lucas
look,
steak? No.
Look, I see what you're saying, but like out of the nipple, it makes it sound like he's like sucking on the teeth.
True, he had a
The
glass.
man was hygienic. He used a container for the liquid.
Oh, fuck. Oh man.
All right.
Okay.
But
So
yeah.
Monster Hunter, yes.
NBA
NBA 2K.
Definitely.
Well, even Monster like go all the fucking way back. I don't think Monster Hunter World should be considered Game of the Year just because like it's fun. The gameplay is awesome. It's just a grind fest. The whole game, start to finish, you're just grinding. And when it comes right down to it, there's just not heaps of depth. When you compare it to something like God of War, which probably should be considered Game of the Year, which I haven't played, but it's got so much more depth to it, or something like Spider-Man, where it's a bit more collectible, a bit more story. There's more overall to do, or something like what else is coming out this year?
Yeah. Well, the thing about the
Southwest.
the thing about the Monster Hunter grind is it does a really good job of the grind, if you will. Like,
Yeah,
So you take a
absolutely.
game like, it hasn't come out this year, obviously, but you take a game like Diablo 3, which is literally designed to grind.
Yeah.
And then when
And
they
they
introduce
don't-
the seasons, it's like grind forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't do a great job of the grind.
No.
Like, you just the idea of Diablo 3's grind is, okay, you get to max level, do rifts until you're good enough to do high end greater rifts. Now do greater rifts. Now take over the game.
Yeah.
Like, that gets real stale really quickly. Like,
Yeah,
I haven't even
absolutely.
played the new season because I just don't want to grind.
Yeah.
See, Monster Hunter does a really good job of that grind because you can be like, oh, I'm sick of fighting this monster, but I need more materials from it. I'm gonna go fight this monster that I need materials from. Get all of that, and then when I'm sick of fighting that monster, I won't be sick of fighting this first monster
Yeah.
again.
So,
So
like absolutely, like it,
Like, I
it
agree.
definitely does grinding well. But I think if we're considering what should be considered Game of the Year, it's
Oh,
hard to call Monster Hunter World Game of the Year.
absolutely, I don't think it should be Game of the Year, and it's not even the type of game that would get Game of the Year. Like,
Yeah.
I can't recall like, I'm probably completely wrong here, but I can't recall a JRPG that's won Game of the Year, especially
Or an
here.
MMO.
What was Game of the Year 2016 and 15?
I could not
But
tell you.
who's the authority on that? Like, this Game of the Year.
It's
by,
normally
like,
IGN.
Yeah.
It's normally whenever IGN says Game of the Year, everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, but with this game of the year, I would definitely say God of War. So I've played that game almost twice because of
Because when you glitched out.
2016 was Overwatch.
Really?
2015.
Look,
Overwatch,
It came in and it messed everyone up.
Overwatch, has my fucking vote. And
It
this
did-
is
it
someone
did-
who in
yeah.
2018 is almost, dare I say, triggered by the words Overwatch. It literally, there's something about that game that just when I hear those words and I'm like, ugh,
yeah.
but fuck, that game was good.
That game did.
Fuck
I don't
that
know
game.
many
It
people
blew
that
ev-
didn't have that game.
It
For
blew
me, it was
everyone
like
out of the
for
water.
me it was like Call of Duty 4, Halo 3, and then they got left behind by Overwatch. That's how fucking good Overwatch was for
It
me.
really did blow people away.
Yeah, I really liked it, but the entire time I was playing it, I'm pretty sure that I'm alone in this for throughout the entire world. But every time I played it, I just couldn't stop thinking that this is like a scuffed Team Fortress 2. Because I grew up
See,
playing.
I
grew up
see
playing
Team Fortress 2 as a scuffed Overwatch now.
Yeah, a lot of people do. But every
Yeah.
time I was playing it, I haven't played it since it came out. Like I played it for the first month, and I was just like, it's good, but it's not something I see myself playing every single day.
Yeah.
But yeah, every time I was playing it, I was just like, I mean, Roadhog's cool, but I'd really like to be playing heavy right now.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the one thing Overwatch did well was they took what Team Fortress did and they made it more accessible.
absolutely,
They
for
made
sure.
it more MOBA-like as well.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like a nice, cool mix between MOBA mechanics and first-person shooters.
Yeah.
It's like, it was cool. It was revolutionary.
It's
over
definitely a lot more
Yeah.
teamwork
Communication.
involved.
Oh yeah, you
Then
you
Team
can't
Fortress
you can't
2.
run through that game on your own and expect to win a game.
For someone
Like,
who's
it's-
never played a MOBA, I watch you guys play MOBAs and I'm like, I sort of get it from Overwatch. That's it. I've never played a MOBA.
like the laning,
100%,
and positioning, and
Yeah.
And even just the class breakdown, you've got tanks, defense, offense, the support.
Yeah,
I would
Yeah.
literally watch you guys play MOBAs, and I'm like, oh, this reminds me of Overwatch from coming back
Yeah.
the other way. And again, I didn't play TF2 either.
Yeah.
I
literally
didn't play
never.
it either.
Yeah, I grew up on TF2, so it's probably nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's probably 100% nostalgia.
I
just
Always
over
been
it.
a newer is better person. I'm
Yeah.
not even with things like music, I'm not a classics dude. I've
Yeah.
never when people talk about the greats, I've just never been like that. I love new shit.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. I love what's shiny and new. I'm always grabbing for it.
No, it's understandable.
But
I think
that's
we-
it. Yeah.
I
I don't have that nostalgia factor about many games.
Yeah.
So
No, it's good though. It means you're current.
Yeah,
It means you're
exactly.
Up to date. It means
Yeah.
you're
There'll always be phases where I'll go through with or games or music or TV shows or anything where it's I want to watch what's current because I know I'm going to have people to talk about that with people because I know that they've very recently seen it or watched it or played it or whatever. But every so often there will be times where I'm just I really just want to go back and play the original Half-Life, or I just want to go listen to John Denver or shit like that. But it's
Like
definitely
when you played New
phases.
Vegas.
Yeah, when I went back and played New Vegas on stream, stuff like that. That was so much fun, except it kept
Yeah.
fucking crashing.
I wish
But-
New Vegas was better on PC. But
Well,
I kept
apparently,
crashing.
as soon as I decided that I wasn't going to play it anymore, someone came in my stream and was like, if you just played it on Windows 7 or Windows XP capability, which you can do on Windows 10, by
Compatibility
literally,
mode.
by just pressing a couple buttons, it's completely fine. I was like, that's cool, thanks. I just deleted the save file, but thank you.
But I think that's the thing as well, is the feeling of wanting to be able to speak to people about it as it's happening as well.
Yeah,
I think
to drive.
You're sharing that
Sort of thing.
hype. It's
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get your blood pumping. You
and you remember a few years ago when 10 or 12 of us used to all go to the movies together,
Yeah.
and then we'd all stand out the front for an hour and talk about it.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And I think that's what helps build the hype of stuff as well. Game of Thrones. People spend more time talking about it than they do watching it.
Absolutely.
sure.
By an insane factor.
Yeah, I was.
Not just because it's so few and far between that they actually release anything.
Yeah.
But people spend days, weeks, and months talking about something that happens for 10 hours a
A
year.
minuscule thing.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
could mean plot spoilers for later down the track. but it's a
Hundreds
theory.
and thousands, millions of people would talk about one episode of Game of Thrones when it came out. It'd be an hour-long episode, and every one of those people would have a half-an-hour conversation. You put that, thousands and thousands of hours people have talked about that one episode, and there's another next week.
Yeah.
But
And
there's retrospectively, I think is funny coming back to it as well. I never watched Lost, and Lost is one of those shows that's the same. It was
I think
globally
it's too much for
captivating,
us.
and
We missed it. We're not old enough.
yeah,
Yeah.
I went back and started watching Lost maybe 3 years ago, and I was like, this fucking sucks. And like, my brother is the most diehard Lost fan. My girlfriend is the most diehard Lost fan. And I was like, it fucking sucks. It's bad. But, I mean, it's not like, I'm talking in extremes, but like, I didn't have the hype with me. So I'm watching it and I was like, it's pretty good, but it's not like, you know, like when it was the same as Game of Thrones now. When an episode comes out and everyone fucking talks about it, Lost was like that first show that was like that the world fucking watched. So watching that without that, I was like, this is not that good. And I guarantee you in like 5 years or whatever, some kid is going to watch Game of Thrones, not having watched it now, and he's going to be like, I don't get it.
As
Yeah,
someone
absolutely.
who hasn't watched Game of Thrones
But I think it's the weight as
and
well.
couldn't get through the first episode, I can already tell you people are going to be exactly like that.
Yeah,
It's like, they're gonna say,
100%.
the fuck is this? I don't want to watch like some dude fall out a window. It's like, come on.
Yeah,
man.
well, and
You did get through the episode. That's at the end.
That's as far as like, that's the end.
Spoilers.
That episode.
Spoilers.
Sorry.
I actually was the same. It took me more than one go to get into Game
Yeah.
of
I
Thrones.
was
I watched
the
that first episode and I did not.
It did. It took me a while too, but once I got through the first episode and got involved in the characters, I was like, all right, you got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've ruined my life.
And we're in a time right now where it's so easy to have those conversations as well.
There's
Like,
Facebook
'cause
groups. There's like
even that, but it's like so
Yeah.
it's so easy, and there's so many different medias to find where to watch Game of Thrones, for example.
Mhm.
Like it's so much more accessible than I have to sit down in front of a TV at 7 now to see this show.
Yeah.
So like it's getting so like
Which is interesting as well, like how big a following and such a devoted following that Lost had.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure. It's
yeah.
a different time. It's like,
There was no Discord back then.
I think that might have been what made its following so much more connected because they were like, there's only one way to watch it, and it's
Yeah.
to sit down at
Same
10,
time.
watching at 8 o'clock at night.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone had that ritual, so everyone was clearly had to be so invested in it because they would.
That's
But-
part of their week.
They would
Yeah,
clear their
it's part of
schedule.
their week.
Yeah,
They
exactly
plan,
right.
They
They're
planned
like,
their week
okay.
around it. They wouldn't go out to dinner that night because Lost was on.
Yeah.
It was
But
the
with
same
us,
as
it's
me
just
and-
like, oh, I'll just stay up an hour later and watch an episode.
Yeah,
Like,
it was the same as me and the 4 other people who watch Heroes.
No, the first season was awesome.
Yeah.
The first episode of the second season, I was like, this fucking sucks. What have they done?
As soon as the eyes went black, I was like, where's Hayden Pence
Yeah.
here? My dick's going soft here.
Did you watch Heroes Reborn when they did that?
God, no.
I didn't watch past
Ben-
it.
Don't.
Ben did.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Let's not. So what won Game of the Year 2015?
I was asking, was The Witcher.
Oh,
Witcher 3. Fair
Witcher
enough.
3?
Good enough.
It's not
Good.
that old. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I
The
still
year
gotta play it.
before.
Well, because
Same.
they still in. I think it was, you might know above me, but Blood and Wine was 2016.
Yeah, Blood and Wine, that's what it is. Like, they
Okay.
had 2 DLCs that came out that were like normal-sized games. Or maybe that's not so much, but like,
Pretty
they
much.
were
Blood and
fucking
Wine.
gigantic.
Yeah, so
Massive.
they just
And they
added
came
on to
out-
this world that was already fucking
Yeah,
massive.
they made The Witcher 3, huge game. Then they put out, what's the first one? Something in Stone.
Yeah,
I don't know, it wasn't that good.
Mm.
They put that one out, and then they put out Blood and Wine like way after that. And Blood and Wine is still to this
Amazing.
day the best DLC of any game I've ever played.
I wish that trend caught on more because Dying Light did the same thing. They had a DLC called The Following, which introduced a whole new zone, pretty much a whole new game, a whole new story and everything. I wish that trend caught on a lot more because buying a DLC for what $30-$40 and getting
Yeah.
pretty much a new game set inside this universe of something that you already love and are attached to.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Fallout 4 did it as well with Far Harbor. It just wasn't that long.
Yeah.
Like, it was really cool. Added a whole
Was it
new
like 10-ish
area.
hours of content?
Yeah, like, it was
Yeah.
cool, and like, 10 hours is like, yeah, that's pretty sick.
That's
but,
a
like,
solid DLC.
Yeah, but when you look at a game that, like, how big Fallout 4 was, like, I'd already played 200 hours when they brought out the extra 10 hours of DLC. I was like, that's cool, but it was
That's
done.
one-
It was
that's
done
one-
in 2 nights. I was
Yeah.
like, that was fun.
How many did they do? Because they did Far Harbor, Nuka World,
And-
Nuka World, but Nuka World was
Anchorage.
not much.
God, and that fucking cheap. Okay. When I played Fallout 4, I was still playing on Xbox, and when I used to play on Xbox, I played for achievements. Like, that was my thing.
I was
I
the
would
same.
100%
Yeah.
games. My gamer score still to this day, I think, is like 160,000.
Fuck
Like, I played that was it. I played some dog shit games for 1,000
yeah. Oh,
games.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It-
Like the Avatar one.
Like that.
Oh, Avatar was like 5 minutes in and out.
Yeah.
I played like
20-minute adventure in and out.
I played an arcade game called Jitsu.
I fucking 100% that game. How bad was that?
It was like
game,
Pac-Man 3D where you were a little squirrel
Dude.
carrying fucking nuts.
Did you play 100% Never Alone as well? That
Yeah.
shitty
Oh
fucking
my
platformer
God.
where you were a fox and a girl.
I played some dog shit, but the
Dude,
fucking
I have
achievement.
nightmares about Nutjitsu, and I didn't even play it.
He played that game vicariously through me
Oh my
over
god.
Skype.
Fuck that game.
Just yelling.
But the achievement in Fallout 4 in Nuka World where you had to get the 200,000 tickets or whatever.
I got it.
Yeah, so did I. I remember
I've
sitting there
platinum
just
Fallout
like
4.
pick up the basketballs and you're just like mashing the A button and I'm
Yeah.
like watching YouTube videos just like I'm like playing South Park all of a sudden just like that fucking game like that ruined Fallout for me. Fallout 4 like that
That's
game was
understandable.
amazing and the only thing I think about is that fucking achievement.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I think about when I think about it now.
I think Fallout 4 was good. It was just
New Vegas was better.
new.
I
I
thought
think
Fallout 3 was better.
I
than
think a
both
lot
of
of
I
them.
the
never played 3.
I
Three was
agree,
The
Right.
but I
game,
also
the
agree
gameplay
with
of 4 was awesome. When it came down to it, the gameplay and exploring was awesome. The story was just so
Yeah.
fucking stale and
Yeah.
boring.
Until you got to the end and you found out
Yeah.
all about Mr. House and that whole thing
Yeah,
happened.
that was
and
pretty
you were
cool.
like, wow, awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
but even
100%
that's a Oh no, you're talking about New Vegas. I'm talking about 4.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Story of New Vegas, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, story of 4 is just like, oh, you know, I've
At
got to
the-
save my son.
Yeah,
I
at
don't
the start
care
you're
about.
just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, no,
Like, okay, I'm about it, and then you go through that whole
Yeah.
Valentine shit, and you're just like, I already don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually never finished the story in Fallout 4. I know
It-
the end, but like I explored everything.
It's
I did
not-
all
it's
the
not-
side
it's not
missions, they
overly
were
worth it.
funner.
you right the gameplay
But,
like when I
in a
first-
game like that, how important is the main story always? Because like
yeah.
my brother's put 500 hours into Skyrim on PC. He's played it on an Xbox 360 as well. God knows how long.
Yeah.
He's done the main story like once or twice.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've put probably 100 and something hours into Skyrim, and I have
Games
no
like-
idea what the main story
Games
is.
like
don't
Elder
even
Scrolls
realize
though are like that because you play those games for like Oblivion. Oblivion was my game. I put about 600 hours into Oblivion as a kid. And every time you start a new save, the main story was the last thing you do. You don't give a shit about Oblivion Gates. I want to go do the Dark Brotherhood right now.
Yeah.
I want to go kill. I want to go fight the arena and find out
yeah.
about that guy and the vampire shit. Like I don't give a fuck about the fucking Oblivion Gates or any of that shit.
I think
Like-
Bethesda just do that so well because there's so many like side stories in side quests in like Fallout New Vegas as well. Like when you meet all those ghouls in the rocket nuclear facility where you got to try and
Yeah.
get them to the moon or
Yeah,
kill them,
yeah, and
whatever
they
you
and
do.
they launch this
Like that was
shit.
so much more. That was so much more interesting than any of the story leading up to it. I didn't care about any of the story, and then I got to that point. But then doing that quest for the first time, I was like, "This is so fucking weird and whack, and just not what I expected." And it's just so fucking interesting to see what they can do when they're not trying to make a whole storyline.
Yeah, they're very incredible at making an entire world that you can
Immerse.
find.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like every big series they have, well, like Skyrim and Fallout mainly. There's so many people that are so into those games, and even if they release an average one like Fallout 4, which like wasn't average, but like the story was pretty lacking. There's still people that are like best game of the year, no matter what, just because it's a Fallout.
Well,
game.
it got Game of the Year.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And it probably deserved it
Wait,
that
did
year.
it?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
2004.
That would have been
2008.
Again,
2014.
I think
subjective.
2014 was something different.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure it was
Let me
2008.
look it up.
I definitely
Did it?
have the
List.
Game of the Year edition.
Yeah,
on-
it definitely
on
did.
Steam.
It
But I feel
definitely
like
came
Game of the Year edition is something that like Nutjitsu could put out a Game of the Year edition. You know what I mean? Like I feel like every now and then you go down to like JB Hi-Fi and you're like, "No, fuck that one
Yeah,
Game
like
of the Year edition."
like Dishonored. I fucking love that game. That was a great game, the first one, but it wasn't Game of the Year.
Game of the Year 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition.
I hated
Actually,
that game. I
that
hated
was.
that game.
I love that game.
I fucking hated Dragon Age Inquisition.
I love
loved,
Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah,
I
I
loved
liked it.
Dragon Age 3 Origins. Was that
The
Dragon
only
Age
Dragon Age game I
3?
played is Inquisition.
For
Me
the sake
too.
of it, for the sake of it,
Here we are, back to Denzel Curry.
Yeah.
sake of it, 2013, Last of Us. 2012,
Understandable.
Yeah.
Dishonored.
Never played.
2011,
Dishonored actually did win Game of the Year. Okay.
Portal 2.
Wait, what year did Skyrim
Crazy.
win Game of the Year?
It didn't.
Did it really not
That was
win Game of the Year?
2011.
Surely.
2011.
No, no, it
what year
didn't.
did Skyrim come out?
2011.
I was so
Portal 2.
sure that
Got
won
it.
Game of the Year.
Perfect. No, Portal 2 over that.
But
any
see,
day.
I guarantee you there's a Skyrim Game of the Year edition.
No,
You know?
there
there's
isn't.
not.
There's
not.
No, there's
Yeah,
special edition.
Yeah,
That's
there-
it.
There's not a there's not.
Wow.
Actually.
Yeah.
They've released
Big
that
rip.
fucking game so many
Feels
times.
bad.
Every
Yeah.
every single
Yeah.
console that is currently
But the
existing
new
has
one?
Yeah, well, they even at E3 this year, they even did that whole thing where you can play it on Alexa and like on a
Yeah.
fridge,
Yeah.
and,
And
shit
it's
like
real.
that.
You can play it on Alexa.
No way.
It's like
Really?
it's
like a
it's,
meme
it's
version.
really short,
Oh,
but
okay.
you can play Skyrim made by Bethesda on Alexa.
That's hilarious.
It's really
And like
cool.
on LG fridges and stuff. Yeah.
Their
Yeah,
Game of the
actually-
Year edition was the bank account that they
Yeah.
checked in
Yeah.
2018. That was their fucking Game of the Year.
They're about to bring out an Elder Scrolls game that apparently looks really good on a phone. Like it plays
Yeah.
really
Blades,
well.
Blades,
yeah, that
yeah.
actually
Cool.
looks fucking
It looks
good.
cool.
Yeah,
Like we got hyped for that when the trailer came out.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they started with a mobile game. I'm like, I'm out. I don't care. I'm not paying attention.
And then you
at
watched
all.
the rest of it.
Yeah, and then I think we were all on Discord, and it was
Yeah.
just sort of like going through. And the more that we were just talking over it, and the more they showed, just the more I shut up. I was like, fuck, this is really cool. Like, yeah, the movement's gonna be pretty.
Weird.
yeah, it's on a rails.
But
it's
yeah,
for sure
it's on rails. But like, it still just looked like it looks like the way you swipe all your weapons and like bring your shield up looks just really intuitive to your thumbs and
Clean.
fingers. Yeah, clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing about this E3 is Bethesda was in a perfect time this E3 because everything kind of leading up to it, apart from Microsoft, was really lackluster.
Yeah.
You had what was at the start? EA was at the start, and you watched EA, and you're like, that was shit. I'm not excited for Anthem. Who gives a fuck? And then
you
you
could tell
had
it was shit when they started by like, sorry guys, we fucked up Battlefront.
Well, at
and
least you
then-
fucking know. But
yeah, and then Sony, which was dog shit.
most of it was just some dude fucking playing a whistle.
Yeah,
This
like,
was the first E3 I remember finishing being like, am I just getting old? Or
Yeah,
what?"
I was not happy with this E3. It was
No.
really boring.
Ah.
yeah,
Nintendo
literally
killed it.
Microsoft,
Yeah.
Nintendo,
Wait, what
and
did Nintendo-
Bethesda.
Oh,
were-
no, yeah, that-
Smash,
yeah,
Pokemon.
you're right.
Nintendo's was fire.
I
Yeah.
think Celeste was even announced.
Yeah, you're right, it was.
Just
The thing I got most hyped for, actually, the thing I got most hyped for was when the dude from Pokemon was just like, "We're making Gen 8.
Yeah.
We have not started,
Yeah.
but we're making Gen 8
Yeah.
for the Switch." I was like, "Fuck!" Yes.
Yeah. Then being like, so this is what we're making. Competitive players, we got you. I was like, oh, thank you.
As soon as they did that, and like now, actually, like going to Pokemon, actually, now that like they've had people from like Cerebi.net play like demo versions of the newer game that's coming out soon, and they're like, it's not as hold handsy as you expect,
Good.
but it definitely is for the more casual audience.
Yeah.
Which I really hope means that Gen 8 is super not.
They already
Yeah.
said that it's going to be for more hardcore players,
really?
depending on how you define hardcore. But I really like that a lot of gaming companies are doing that at the moment. How they're getting people that are actually like their fan base are actually the ones like helping develop the game.
Yeah.
Trials did that, so they
Oh,
did.
true,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
they did a lot. They got a lot of like Trials YouTubers, streamers. They even got Jack from Rooster Teeth, who's like a Trials fan and stuff, came in and actually helped develop Trials Rising. And yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
because
that's
you
sick.
actually, you're directly catering to the people that love your game.
Yeah.
for sure.
And know what and have different. Everyone's going to have different tastes, obviously, but they're the ones that have been playing your game since day dot.
Yeah.
And love it. And
And
like,
they're
that's
the
a-
ones putting 600 hours into
yeah,
stuff.
and that's
Yeah.
awesome. A lot of gaming gaming companies should be doing that type of stuff.
They
because
should.
It's
They
fantastic.
absolutely should be doing it because the only people that are going to know their games that well, like a company can make a game and it's like, yeah, they made it. They're going to know it inside out. But there's only like, you see the game through like a different sort of like not rose tinted glasses, like shit tinted glasses because you've put so much hours of work. Like that's your job. As much as you might enjoy games and making games, it's your job.
Yeah.
You're not gonna.
for sure.
There's
Well,
gonna be
that's-
so many aspects you don't like.
But you
it's
know
your
what?
Job.
You know what all of that stuff is though, is the ideal perfect world situation of an or a pre-release game, is that you
Yeah.
are building it up with the community.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't always happen.
Well, it just doesn't. Like
Especially
early
when you
release is just a way to release a broken game.
Yeah,
and,
and
not fix
Get
it.
money for it.
Yeah, and just
I've
get
been
money
working-
to continue developing it.
Yeah.
But the thing about like the difference is you've between like Trials Rising, for example, and PUBG.
Yeah.
You're opening it up to Steam, which has got people that don't give a fuck about helping you develop the game. They just want to shoot motherfuckers. Like I couldn't give a fuck about the development of PUBG, but I'll go in and shoot some fucking cunts. Like, I don't
Not
give a
once
shit.
did I ever send a bug report for PUBG, but I tell you fucking what, there were plenty of fucking bugs.
but like going back to your thing about the shit tinted glasses and stuff like that. It's the exact same with like all kind of medias. Like I hate the music that I created, but Jake, for example, likes it
Mm.
because I've spent so many fucking man hours critiquing this shit, and Jake's hearing it for the first time. He's like, "Yeah, this is good." I'm like, "Well, no, it could have been so much better. I could have done this and this and this and this." He's like, "But it's good."
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
the
it's one
fucking
of
like artist's curse though.
That's the
Yeah.
same with everything though. Like
It's
everyone
all types of
has
media.
it. With my fucking speedrun Odyssey, like somebody may watch it and be like, "Oh, this looks sick," and I'm like, "Fuck, I fucking stepped one step left when I shouldn't have done that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just-
I love watching you run Odyssey, and I like I'll go to my grave never having sped run a game.
Yeah.
Like, I love watching you run Odyssey, and it's the same. Like you're like, yeah, exactly right. You'll be so critical about this stuff, and I'm just like, oh, this looks fucking insane.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
what-
watching you-
look at that jump.
watching-
Snowdram.
Yeah, watching you
Yes.
attempt Snowdram, and you're just like, he's so close, and you're like, I'm just not getting it. You're like, what do you mean? You're poking on the edge. This is sick. Like, yeah, nah, I'm with you.
Yeah, no.
Same as you
Everyone's got it.
running Hollow Knight the other night. You're like, oh fuck, I feel bad if this is like painful to watch. It's like I love watching you learn to run. It's so
Oh, yeah.
entertaining.
It's weirdly entertaining.
I'm glad people
Super.
enjoy watching
Yeah.
you die.
Yeah, I fucking. my
I mean, we
favorite part
sat
of
through your
life is-
Nuzlocke.
Not like
Nice.
this, dude.
Nice.
No, dude.
Stanley, no.
Oh, dude, I can't go
Yes.
back to that. I can't go back to those 20 hours ever again. That really broke me up inside.
Fuck, man, what a ride that was.
Oh, what a 24 hours.
Yeah.
When's the next 24 hour?
3,000.
Understandable.
Let's go 2001. What are you at?
2,100 exactly, I think.
Let's go 111.
1, 1, what about 2,222?
Done. 24 hour.
Nah, no thanks.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it special if we do it too many times. Though.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the-
you're right, you're right.
It's like we start at Gen 1, the next one's going to be Soul Silver, Emerald, Platinum.
No shit. That's a really cool idea.
Nice, that'd be cool.
Mm.
So God of War
Is
Game of the year.
It's so funny because we sat down and we were like, we're just going to talk about Game of the Year and then sort of see where we branch off. I said one game and then we go to fucking
No, it was like
Lost
let's talk game of the
sports games, fucking
Game of Thrones.
Pokemon, Game of Thrones.
No, I was like, we're gonna talk game of the
shit
year,
into glasses.
and then we'll go back to our youth and talk about what games got us started.
Team
Yeah.
Fortress.
Yeah,
Game
I
of the
would do
Look at
Year.
me, camera. We'll talk about games that got us started.
Oh yeah, I've got a list of shit.
15-minute lost
So,
segment.
game of the year though,
So yeah,
God of War.
God of War.
I've never played it. You've never played it. Have you played it?
No, I have not.
No.
Are you the
just
only one?
Jaden.
Oh,
You're the
yeah.
only one
But
that's played it.
we trust him.
Let's talk about
Wait,
God of War.
Alright, I don't want to say Game of the Year yet because I'm really holding out to see how Fallout 76 is.
Game of the
Fallout
year is
70
so fun.
Yo,
Fallout 76.
Yeah.
Smash though. Is Smash a realistic contender?
No.
No.
Because it's just going to be the
In my
exact same
heart,
Smash
yes.
game with just extra characters.
Oh,
I don't
Overwatch-
see it stepping it up.
Overwatch won Game of the Year 2016.
But like, if Overwatch 2 came out, it'd be like, yeah, this is fun, and I'm going to
The
play
thing
it.
is-
It's
the
not
thing
going to win
is-
Game of the Year.
The point I'm trying to make is that that's like a competitive esports game. I feel like with Smash Ultimate, that's what they're going for as well. With like
Yeah, I
an
agree.
added
Yeah.
casual side. Does that bring an air of possibility that it might happen?
I'd say that it would have to be on lists. Whether it
I
wins,
think, yeah.
I
but
think
like
it would
it'll
make, like, top
definitely
10.
get nods.
I-
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
think-
absolutely.
yeah.
It already would be put on top 10 just seeing what we've seen.
Yeah.
But that's
with actual Game of the Year though. I think single player games that have come out this year, the ones that I've played alone, I'm sure there's more than I'm missing. But God of War, Spider-Man, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
which I'm playing at the moment, they've really like stepped up in from EA at the start of the year, maybe late last year, saying that single player games are dead.
But they were wrong straight out of the
And
gate.
no one wants
Yes.
They were absolutely wrong, but like then coming through with God of War, which
Mm.
was absolutely immaculate. It just had you encapsulated the entire time, and never got stale with the gameplay. Like it had this really, really deep and incredible story with lore that you could really get behind. It referenced so the old God of War games. I never played them as a kid. They're about Greek mythology. This one focuses around Norse more so.
And you love Norse.
Yeah, I was
mythology.
gonna say,
I
as soon as you said that, I'm
absolutely
like, you'd love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but like it incorporates all those Norse gods really, really well and accurately. It accurately portrays them,
Right.
and the gameplay, yeah, it never falters. Like you can fight the same pack of enemies 17 different times, and every time
Different
something will go different, and you can you'll find out different ways. It has something that I love in single player games is skill trees,
Yeah.
and it does skill trees very, very well.
I love a good skill.
So it has. So basically, you have your offensive it's been a little bit since I played this. It's been offensive skill tree, defensive skill tree, and then you've got a skill tree for Archeratus, your son, that follows you around the entire game.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, you can choose to upgrade any of them at any point.
Yeah.
Type deal. And it just does it so well. Like,
But is it like Horizon Zero Dawn where you will get everything?
you can get everything. So
Okay.
so it's not like you don't level up and earn a skill point. You get I can't remember the exact currency, but you get currency.
Okay.
And you spend that currency, but then you can also spend experience. So you don't get levels. You get 18 experience for killing this guy, and this upgrade will cost you 30 experience, for example.
Okay.
So you can, you kill 8 people, and you can get 2 skill trees if they cost experience. And then it also does something that that I also really like in single players that not a lot of them do, but like actual gear upgrades. You can upgrade your axe. You can upgrade your other weapons, which are like I think other weapons from
Is it
the
cosmetic
old
as well?
games. Yeah, so they changed
Okay,
not
that's cool.
not the
Yeah.
actual weapon upgrades, but you can change armor for
Okay.
you and Archeratus, and that changes how you look.
Right.
And it also gives you different bonuses and stuff like that. And then you can augment those. Just everything that it did really well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it never got stale.
So let me ask you this: you can speak so many good things about God of War.
Mhm.
Anything you dislike? Anything that was blatantly out
So I played it twice, not all the way through. But so what happened is I played about 60% of the game. I got to one room and I just couldn't figure out why I couldn't go any further.
Right.
We ran around pretty much the entire map. So what am I missing here? I've got to be missing something.
I remember that was a long night.
It was a very long night. I spent about 4 and a bit hours looking for what I've done wrong, where I've gone wrong, how do I get to the next.
I went to bed and you kept going.
Yeah. So then eventually I was just like, I gotta fucking YouTube this. I gotta go through a walkthrough.
Yeah.
My game bugged out,
Oh, okay.
but because I was walking around for so long, my autosaves went past the point of no return. I had to start the game again.
That's so
I feel
ass.
so bad.
So at release that was a problem. I don't know if I was the only one that encountered it or whatever, but I encountered that. So I got real sour on that game for about a month.
Yeah.
I couldn't just start it again.
Oh, no, you can't.
Understandable. You
So
couldn't.
yeah, I stopped for about 3 weeks a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about a month.
And then I played through it. I wouldn't really say that much bad about it. I played on the second highest difficulty.
Right.
Perfectly challenging for where I was at.
The last boss fight was really tough for you.
Oh yeah, so it wasn't the actual last boss of the story. So,
it was like the Valkyrie one.
yeah, so basically you can go around and I think there's 7 from memory. There's 7 Valkyries all around the map that you can go in and you can fight.
Right.
And each Valkyrie fights a little differently. They're basically like mini bosses. And then once you kill all 7, you get to kill the Valkyrie Queen, and she's a mixture of every single Valkyrie fighting style. She was fucked.
Okay.
She was.
You were stuck on that for like
she
2
was
nights.
so yeah.
Yeah.
She was
Game
so
you
fucking
played.
hard.
Wizard of Legend came out this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That was a
fun.
really good game as well.
That was
Fun.
a
It
fucking
just-
fun game.
But you played it for 2 weeks at most.
Well, I played it for 2 weeks at most, but I also played it for like 40 hours. So like I definitely
Yeah.
put a lot of time in that game. It's just like it's just like a roguelike game, but like once you sort of figured out the patterns and figured out what sort of like combination of stuff you wanted to make to get to the end of like the run and beat the run, it was pretty easy. And it was pretty easy to just
Because
continuously
there wasn't
beat it.
that much in a run. Wasn't there only 3 or 4 different levels?
Yeah,
Three.
there was 3 levels with a boss at the end of each level, and then like a final boss.
Yeah.
So like
And-
3 stages, then a boss. 3 stages, boss. 3 stages, boss. Final boss.
Oh
Is
no!
that right?
Okay, so two stages of the one level, and
So there was
boss,
like the
2
green
stages,
one and there was like the red one.
and then the ice one. So
Yeah.
like fire, grass, and like nature, and then there'd be like a chaos boss or something.
Yeah.
And like that was fun, but it just got stale really quick. It was just like a very basic roguelike.
Yeah, I downloaded Wizard of Legend when I went to Japan for 2 weeks, and I didn't play it when I came back. But I loved it while I was away.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right, it didn't have that much like
It's-
staying power.
It's just one of those games you can easily jump into and be like, yeah, I'll play this
Was
for
that
like
on the
20 minutes.
Switch?
And
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
I played on
How was it on the Switch?
Yeah, it was really
Do you have a
good.
Pro controller?
No, I just
Okay.
played it straight off the Switch.
Yeah.
Oh, like straight up handheld.
Handheld.
mode. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty
And I
cool.
played it like literally like girlfriend would go to sleep or between episodes of My Hero Academia on the bullet train.
Yeah.
And like it was really fun. And
Yeah,
then I
like
came
it.
home dropped off.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, my Switch controller just didn't work on the game anymore, and then I just lost all interest. I was like, well, I don't have my PS4 controller here with me anymore, so I can't be fucked just going into my girlfriend's house 40 minutes away to come back
Play this.
and then maybe die 3 times.
Yeah, in saying that, I actually never even finished a single run.
I'll see, I probably only beat it 3 times, but once I beat it...
That was huge.
Yeah, I beat it and it was so hype and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But then I did maybe 5 runs after that and I beat 2 of them and I was like, this is fairly easy now.
Yeah,
Like I got up to the last boss every single one of those runs because once you beat the final boss, you get a chaos ability, but they're so fucking overpowered. So as soon as you got...
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you got like the best one.
Yeah, I got the best one straight
Like,
away.
yeah,
This
like
dude on my stream
randomly.
was like, get fucked. I'm like, what? The fuck is... what? He's like, nah, that's the best one, by far. So I just steamrolled through the rest of the game and I was like, okay, this is just pretty easy now.
And you were basically on track to have maybe another week or so, and you'd have everything.
Yeah. Yeah, well, not even a week. If I sat down for maybe 2 more streams, I'd have everything. There's only 7 chaos abilities and I have 3 of them.
I wonder what.
I mean, but like, there's
it'd be
all the
like.
other builds and stuff. As
Oh,
well.
yeah. But I had most... I looked up like builds and I'd like had
got that
most of the
lightning
items. So I'm like, I had most of the items from like the top 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to look any further than that. The rest of it is going to be me or something.
Yeah.
I wonder what it would be like to play now.
I don't think it's been updated too much.
Sitting-
I
don't think
keep it
that's-
on
Really?
auto update because it's one of
I-
those games that I was super interested in. It's had maybe 2 updates.
Yeah,
Really?
I actually played it maybe a week ago. Same thing.
Yeah.
Didn't
Really?
really like
That's
it.
a shame.
That's unfortunate.
That's
I
a
was-
real. That's a
It
big
had a lot of
shame.
potential.
Because that was fun. Because I played it for a little bit as well, but I loved watching your stream of that. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
it-
watching him die every time we got to like the final boss. And you
Every-
couldn't dodge that one attack. You're like, it's so hard.
Yeah. Oh man, me getting triggered on stream, classic.
Yeah, I found an old clip from your stream when we were playing golf with friends with Aaron and Kieran,
Yeah.
and it was just like the most weird thing to look at because it's just like I don't know. It's just you hear old voices from like a year ago and old Tyson's stream. He's just sitting there playing golf and like.
I had to be real quiet. My whole family was asleep and stuff, but we're all just like laughing our heads off because we're so overtired. I've missed a shot 7 times in a row. And I'm just like, what is happening?
There's some of the best gaming memories ever where you're like, what time is it? Who am I?
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah.
miss a shot, just like die laughing.
Yeah, I'll never forget when I think we were in like year 11 maybe, and it was school. It was like fresh school holidays, and you guys know that game Warframe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Warframe came out on. It came out in open beta. The first day it came out in open beta, me and Tyce started playing it at around 11 at night
God, that game sucked at first.
till 5 a.m.
We played so much
We
of
played basically the entirety of the beta like twice,
it.
and we just like got to a point where it was just everything we were doing. It was just fucking hilarious. It was like, oh, it was great.
I've heard that. I've heard
And
that
then
game's
did-
phenomenal now.
Didn't you
Apparently
never
so.
play it again?
Yeah,
I've never
apparently
played it
it's everything that I could be wrong in comparing it here, but it's everything that Destiny should have been.
That could be cool.
Apparently,
I did like Destiny at first. I didn't play 2, but I loved Destiny when it first came out until they brought out the first DLC and they were like, okay, you can't do these, this, and this challenges anymore, which you could do before the DLC came out, but you need to own the DLC to do them now. I was like, you're purposely locking people out
Yeah.
just so they buy a DLC. I'm
Was-
like, I'm out.
was
I sold the game. I was like, that's it. I'm done.
Was Taken King the second DLC?
third.
That's
Third.
third. There was one DLC before that. But that being said, I had so much fun playing Destiny. Going through a raid in Destiny was some of the most fun I've ever had gaming.
They were intense.
They were so hard.
I watched Adam and Baron do them a lot, and it was very.
I was doing it with them. The
Yeah.
first one, I think, Halls of Reflection, or that
Yeah.
might be a World of Warcraft raid.
No, Halls of Reflection. I think
Yeah,
it was Destiny.
Yeah, the first time going through that, and like because we got in the first day it opened, we didn't know there were no guides for anything, so we just had to figure it out. And because
That's the best though.
yeah, it's awesome.
Like-
it's so much fun.
Like I've done that with WoW. That's so much
It's
fun.
it's the best shit to do because it's just like you have to figure everything out. And there was one part where you have to like quickly sneak through so that these sentry things don't see you, because as soon as they see you, they instantly kill you. And when we first saw it, there was like the first thing it said was like, "There's no way we can sneak through that. Like, there's no way. There's so many of them. It is impossible." So we just spent 2 hours doing everything but that, and then found out you could sneak through and just like
Jesus.
That's fucked. It's so fucked that we can sneak through this now. But that was fun.
Yeah, I played Destiny 2 on release, and I haven't played the newest DLC, which I think is called Forsaken from memory.
I've heard that's good.
Apparently is amazing.
Yeah.
But I played Destiny 2 and the first two. It would be a really good game if you had a solid a group of 3 to play with.
We had a solid 3. It was me, Adam, and Baron.
Yeah,
and we were all the different classes, so it was perfect.
Yeah, I feel like if I played that game from release, with the same other two people, I feel like I'd still be playing it today.
Yeah.
But because I played the entire thing solo, you got to a point where you needed to do more than heroic, what are they called? Strike missions.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to do, what are they called? Nightfall missions, which are basically like mythic strikes, for lack of a better term. And there wouldn't be matchmaking for it. So I didn't have anyone else to play with, so I'd go on Reddit and I'd look at Reddit fire teams and try and find people from Reddit to play with, and just sucked all the fun out of the game.
Yeah, it would.
So
having a multiplayer game and not having anyone to play with at least somewhat regularly is the worst.
Oh, it completely ruins
It's
it.
also 2018. I feel like every multiplayer game should have some form of matchmaking.
Absolutely.
At least some form.
Absolutely.
Like, even if it's very optional, because I feel like with Destiny, going into a game with a matchmade team would be hard, but give us the option.
Yeah. Even if you want, if you want to force teamwork, just say, you can, it's probably even a bad call, but you can just be like, you have to, communicate. You have to have a mic to match up with this, which is still bad because it's still gating people, like kids that can't afford a mic type deal. But it's just fucking...
PS4 comes with one.
There you go.
It's trash.
All
It's included though.
Yeah.
And that's legitimately all that matters.
So is it Xbox?
In this case, in this case, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So Destiny 2 got it was fun while I played it, and I had a lot of fun. It's just I had
Did that come out this year? Yeah.
That was the that was last
D2
year.
was last year.
Forsaken was this year.
Late
Was,
last year, I think.
Yeah,
It was late,
It was,
Was Divinity 2 this year?
Divinity 2 was this year.
Yes.
That was a
Was
great
it
game.
really?
And
I'm pretty
oh
sure.
no, I
Let
feel
me
like
go-
Someone
let
told
me-
me to play it last 2 years ago.
That's been a game that's been on my list
might
for
be
a very
Divinity,
long
though.
time.
But
Maybe it was Divinity.
Definitive
2.
edition, definitive edition of number 2 just came out maybe a month or so ago, and people are loving that. It's like the revised version.
Divinity Original Sin 2 was 14th of September last year.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
It's my birthday.
So,
There you go.
I have a friend who plays Divinity, and he said he fucking loves it. He doesn't.
Oh,
It's
we
great.
love
They've
it.
played it.
It's great. Me and Jacob played all
I
the way
started-
through it, but
I started another playthrough just the other night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard it's fucking huge.
it's great.
Another one of my friends was telling me about it. He's like, you should stream this game because I reckon you'd love it. And I was like, oh, I'll look into it. He was telling me about this quest where you save a cat.
And
Yeah.
the teleporting cat.
Yeah.
He's like,
Of course.
it took me a while to do, and it got me nowhere in the story, but it was rewarding and fulfilling. Or
It gives
some
you an
shit.
ability that lets you teleport.
Yeah.
You can only get that with one very specific school of magic otherwise, or a couple of items that you could pick up had you picked the right quest.
Yeah. It's insane.
True.
Yeah,
It's
I've heard nothing
very
but good
very
things.
helpful, very strong.
I've heard what I've seen of the game.
And it's a
is
talking cat.
What I've seen of the game has been so deep as well. I've watched this one dude who was like, "Oh, you gotta watch this," and it was just a small combat scenario, but it was everything that you could see on the map did something. So there was an oil lamp or something, and it was now watch this. He got one dude to destroy the oil lamp, and it got oil on the ground or something, and then got another dude to use a fire move that then set it on fire, and then another dude. Another dude to use some sort of other magic that made that fire explode and do damage to everything around it, and everything just links together.
It's very
perfectly.
tactical.
Yeah,
It's very
super tactical, super strategy.
Well,
which is why I haven't played it yet because I'm
It's
not good at strategy
super
games.
heavily based on D&D.
Yeah,
And in playing the combat in Divinity, you can absolutely see that. And
it would just give you every option to fight.
yeah, the world interaction that they've put into the combat is phenomenal.
So wait, what kind of combat is it? It's turn-based?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
turn-based.
It's
It's,
okay,
it's turn-based, and you have action points. So,
Right.
a spell might take 2 action points, or this many meters of movement costs this many, and
Right,
you've
yeah.
got so much to work with.
So it's literally Dungeons and Dragons, like you were saying.
In a sense, yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
So let's
except
say
D&D works different in that you've got the action, bonus action,
Yeah.
and then
sure.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
like
so
you
let's
said,
say
it takes
I-
inspiration from.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want to fucking set this thing on fire over here, but it's just out of my range. And to set something on fire will cost 2 action points. I only have 4 that I can use.
Right.
And to move within range,
Cost 3 or something.
costs 2.
Okay.
For example, I can move there and cast it on fire.
Yeah.
If it was in my range, I could use those 2 and then use my other action points
Something else.
to cast another spell, for
Spell,
example.
yeah.
But
Because-
you could kind of cheese it a little bit in that some spells wouldn't provoke a fight.
Right.
So I like this combo that I had right from the beginning. It was rain. So it would rain and then it would make the ground wet.
Yeah.
And then if you had the aero magic, which was air and electricity, you could shock the water that you just put on the ground and everyone standing in it would get shocked.
Right. Okay.
And it would do damage to them. But like the rain, it's just water.
Yeah.
That doesn't provoke the fight.
Yeah.
So I'd put that down. Jaden would run up.
Start the
And
fight.
and then
yeah.
we've already got like an advantage.
Yeah, like
That's
we'd
pretty cool.
we'd
Yeah.
go and position ourselves in tactical, like
Assess the situation.
in tactic. So
figure
we're
out
like,
how to
okay,
play.
we need to fight these guys. Do you want to stand here before the fight starts, so you're in the best possible position
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
once the fight starts, type deal?
Or like what I'm doing with Alex now is that I'm playing the exact same character again. And you were a different type of mage, but Alex is...
Who's Alex?
he's not here, it doesn't matter.
Okay. For reference though, who's Alex?
Useless Kent is his name.
Is he a housemate?
He was
What is he now?
my ex-housemate.
There we go. Alex is Jake's ex-housemate.
Okay. But what he's playing now is like a melee tank character.
Yeah.
So he's got warfare abilities and geo magic.
IGA magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so what we'll do is if I don't feel like starting it this time, he'll do it and like I'll go start the conversation, but then he'll get in a position where he can do a charge ability and kick off the fight.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It just sounds like there's heaps of depth to it. So it
There-
sounds,
there-
sounds
you
very
can do-
easy.
you can-
to
you
learn.
can do
Very
anything.
Intimidating to get into.
Oh,
because
yeah.
The way you
It
guys
did look
describe it,
intimidating.
It's like
For like an hour, it is.
yeah, that's
Well,
the thing.
the thing about this game
It's
is,
like
is-
D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
For like an hour, it's intimidating, and then you're like, oh, okay.
I get it.
Yeah,
And the thing about this game is you can go around and play shit and do whatever the fuck you want for an hour and a half, and then you realize you've made no progression through the actual story. You've gotten nowhere, but you've done so much shit.
Yeah.
Like it's just one of those.
Now I can teleport.
Now I've got a crazy cat
I
that
have a
talks to
cat.
me that I can teleport. Now I need to go fight some crocodiles, so this guy will give me more teleporting shit.
Yeah, of course.
That's such a good early game combo.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great game. It's a great game. I definitely recommend to play it.
So what other games from 2018
Yeah.
that we've played? Or
I
just
don't even
in
know, man.
I've played Spider-Man, which was
I'm keen for
For-
Black
for-
Ops 2.
Black Ops
Black
4.
Ops 2 already
Black,
came
Black
out.
Ops 4. Black Ops 2 was good.
That's next Friday. That's in a
Yeah.
week. in a
Wait,
week
it's
and a
next
bit.
Friday.
Next Friday.
I'm
alright.
actually going to play the ever-living shit out of that.
Yeah.
I was
Zombies
like-
run. Zombies
yeah.
run.
Zombies,
Zombies run.
zombies,
Zombies run.
zombies.
Dude, I
Zombies run.
said this when I was playing the beta. I was like, I'm angry at this. I'm gonna buy a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
It's been years since I bought a Call of
The
Duty. but
last
I was-
Call of Duty game I bought was Black Ops 1.
Wow.
See,
Does it say-
I played Black Ops 2 and 3. There has not been a bad Black Ops game.
I buy only the Black Ops or the Treyarch main
Yeah.
CODs. That's it. And it's
What did they
usually
make before Black Ops?
World of War.
World at War.
Which
They,
was also
they
bloody
did make
good.
World of War.
Yeah.
Well, that was the introduction of zombies.
Those are the
no?
two that I
Yeah,
have.
That was
Yeah.
that was Treyarch's first game as well.
I don't
What
know
was
which
it?
was the last
Wow.
one I played. I played the campaign with the one that had the fucking diddler in it. What's his name?
The Diddler.
What's his name?
Kevin Spacey.
Spacey. That's the last one I played. I
I
played,
didn't-
I
that
played
was
the
Infinite Warfare.
Infinite Warfare.
Yeah,
I
I
played the
didn't play that.
campaign
that
of
was so
that,
disgusting.
but I'm trying to think of the last one I bought. It would have probably been a Black Ops 1. Maybe Black
I've
Ops 2. was it?
the last campaign of a Call of Duty I played, whatever the fuck one at the end, you throw the knife into that
Modern Warfare
guy's
2.
eye.
Modern Warfare 2.
No matter where you throw the knife,
Yeah.
you can throw it like he could be there. You can just be like, oh, I got his eye.
Actually, the ending for Modern Warfare 3 was awesome because the whole time Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3, you're chasing Makarov, and then you like spoilers. At the end, yeah.
If you haven't played Modern Warfare yet,
Yeah, yeah.
About to finish World of War.
But like the end is like you're fighting on the top of this glass glass like
Rooftop?
glass like rooftop thing, and then like you both go to fall, and then mid air You somehow get this big metal like rope around his neck. You hit the ground. You sort of like wake up in a daze, and you look up, and he's just been hanging there.
Ooh, let's go.
Yeah, it's
Let's
so
go.
intense. And then your character, I think you're playing as Price. He's the only dude that's left after every other dude you've played in those
Soap
games are
died.
dead.
Soap, not
No,
like
not
this.
soap.
Not like this.
McTavish?
McTavish.
Which was the one that
Ghost?
Who was the one that got gunned
Shepard?
down in the airport? That was a great mission.
Remember, no Russia.
I can't remember.
Let's talk about
You
that
never actually
mission.
see his face.
That was a great
that was,
mission.
That was McElroy.
If that came-
No, he
Wait, the
was-
optional one where you just...
I
No,
can't-
He was like
the
a
one-
throwaway character.
Yeah, he was a throw.
He
You
was-
weren't any.
Oh,
You
okay.
never see
He
him.
was the
Yeah,
person
so-
that you were playing as first in Modern Warfare
Yeah.
2, and then it's like, oh fuck, we've been baited. So they literally baited you into thinking that was your main character, and then
Yeah.
it's like,
You kill him.
Okay.
you're dead
Yeah.
now.
So,
and then you play as someone else.
what do you reckon would be the pushback, for lack of a better term, if that mission came out now?
It would. It would.
In
It
the
would just,
in the world we live in,
Nah, it would get banned in Australia.
It
First
would
of all.
get banned.
you'd
probably
say
in
that,
Russia
but We
too.
Happy Few was banned in Australia. I've played that game.
Yeah, but that game, they ended up turning that back because someone actually played it and realized it wasn't all about taking drugs. It just had
Crazy.
drug use.
Someone
in it.
who's in charge of banning games played it.
Yeah.
And then made a decision.
Well,
It's-
yeah.
The
You'd hope
fucking
so.
thing that pisses me off the most about the board of directors for the classification system is that they're all old people,
Yeah.
35 plus, and it's
Who
like
probably don't play video
you
games.
just don't understand what it's like nowadays. You don't understand that we're kind of, for lack of a better term, desensitized to all this
Oh,
violence.
yeah.
I
and
could
type
go
of
on
shit.
Reddit right now, and I could watch I could scroll for
Like
3 hours of people getting decapitated.
Why does
Yeah.
Live
Like-
Leak exist? Like,
Oh god, I went through like a month where all I watched was Live League.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
R//50/50,
It ruined me.
you like cute dogs or decapitated heads, and oh fuck me.
It felt so good when it was the actual
dogs.
cute dogs.
Like,
Like,
oh,
oh,
God, God.
but also, if you're cheated, we have to watch another one.
Yeah, that's
That's
it.
a dangerous life to live.
Yeah,
imagine
not
if
like this.
everything you did was a 50-50.
Yeah.
Get in the car, 50-50, it starts or not. 50-50,
Dude, what-
the door opens.
Like putting on pants, 50-50, you shit right now.
I'm not taking that chance. But speaking of We Happy Few, that came out this year. Have
Yeah.
you're the only one that's played it. I'm
Yeah, okay, so I played...
Welcome to Jane
What?
I
What have
played...
we played?
featuring friends.
I played a bit of it. I played the first... So, I haven't played all of it. I'm not even fucking nearly into the game.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically start. So we all know the premise of the game. How they take this drug called joy, and it basically makes them fucking happy and carefree.
Yeah.
Bit on the nose for me.
Yeah.
Ooh, how'd you come up with this?
And if you're off your joy, you'll get caught. Everyone, and if someone like
Like looks at you or speaks to you.
Yeah, if-
you go
if-
home
if
and
any-
have a cone.
Show them a
anyone-
suicide meme, and they're like, "Get him!"
if anyone notices you're called a downer, and you basically get kicked out of this. At the start, you decide not to take your joy because you get reminded of your brother that you forgot existed. Because joy, like prolonged use of joy, gives you memory loss.
Right.
So you've forgotten about your brother, and you're like, "What the fuck? I have a brother. I need to go find him. I'm not going to take joy." And then people find out that you're not on joy. You get kicked out of the city. You find your way back in. Blah blah blah. I've basically where I'm up to is I've just found my way back in. But you find out that joy completely changes perceptions of things. So at the start of the game, you get invited into this birthday party, and you're not on your joy for the first time ever.
This is one of the few parts I've seen about this game,
Fucking
and it
hectic.
was crazy.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically, you're not on your joy, but you're kind of coming down off it, so you're still a little bit on it. And they're hitting this pinata at this birthday party. And you kind of have a flash where you realize it's not a pinata, it's just a dead rat. And these people are just like going, like pissing themselves laughing,
Yeah.
beating the shit out of this dead rat.
Spooning shit like into their
Spoon-
mouths.
Yeah, like
and
eating
it's
its
just going like,
guts and shit like that.
like sort of like cutting back and forth between like happy colors and like they're all like, and then it's just like grim shit, like dead fucking, and they're all like
Wild.
eating
and
this
you
shit.
find out that this joy came about because it was actually I want to say Germany invaded Britain, and
Sounds about right.
and won the war,
Mm-hmm.
and Britain's way of coping with it is you just make this drug, and all the bad shit goes away
Okay.
because they live in fucking turmoil. They live in like
When the might of the German steel
when you're
industry.
in
Yeah.
when you're in this city where everyone's on joy and you're not on it, it's terrible. It's like it's just dark.
Slums.
Yeah, basically. And then you like sometimes you have to take joy. You take it, and everything's fucking great. Everything, there's rainbows in the sky, like the fucking footpath.
Sewage is fucking crystal clear water or something.
Like the footpath literally lights up as a rainbow color type. Like you're completely, and you walk around like, and yeah, so like it's good. It was like I had fun with it, but I don't know, I probably won't finish it.
I think the initial thing with games like We Happy Few is that it's that shock factor that hits you.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
it swaps
Absolutely.
it's like, whoa. But once you've got that shock factor the first time, the second time you play it through, it's going to be like...
It
But
just
also-
becomes a game mechanic.
But also,
Yeah.
then it just becomes a survival game. Like, it's a survival game
it
at the
really
crux.
is. It
Like, it's
really
not...
is.
It seems, like, really story-driven. You get shit like this scene, which is, like, crazy, and then it's just sort of, like, a survival game.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't get caught without drugs.
Yeah. Without.
But
Okay.
if you think about it, does it have more or less drug use than the Bioshock games?
More.
More?
more encouraged use, and I think that is where people banning games would go for. It's more
Bioshock-
encouraged.
Is Bioshock explicitly labeled as drugs, or is it...
Well, it's like a
similar?
chemical that you're injecting,
But
right?
do they call it drug?
Well,
I don't think
it
so.
would be a drug. It's just probably not recreational.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the
it-
same as the Fallout games. They
Stim packs, right?
well, yeah, they had to. They originally, apparently, a guy I work with has told me this. Apparently, they were It was originally called Speed. Jet was called
Yeah.
Speed.
Yeah.
Stimpax was morphine. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And
they
they got
had to
that,
change
and
all
they
the
were
names.
they were going to get banned, so they just changed it all to Stimpax, Jet, whatever,
Yeah.
and it's completely fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was one other thing I forgot. So Minecraft actually has drugs in it, believe it or not. But they call them pufferfish. You can
Oh,
Okay, yeah,
fish
and you
out the
actually
pufferfish,
trip.
and
Yeah,
you eat them and you trip out.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like legit.
Wild, I didn't
Every
know
game
that.
has fucking drugs
Yeah.
except for Pokemon.
We've done
but they have gambling. So
There you go.
Well, even like it was teased earlier this year. Cyberpunk 77. That's heavily drug
That looks sick.
used.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
have
so
you
hyped
seen
for that game.
They
Yeah.
released what 40-50 minutes of
Yeah.
gameplay.
Oh yeah, I
And-
watched it 3 times.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm all in on the hype on
Yeah.
that
Oh, me
game.
too,
Literally,
me
like,
too.
I'm fucking drinking the Kool-Aid on
Ex-
Cyberpunk.
Especially since it's CD Projekt Red or whatever, which
Yeah.
is the same people that made Witcher.
So it's gonna be good.
And a little game called Gwent.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I reckon it's about time to wrap up.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
before we do, I want a prediction from each of you on what you reckon Game of the Year is going to be.
God of War.
I'm going to say God of War as well, since I haven't played it.
Hmm.
But I've heard nothing but great things.
God of
Even
War is
people in the chat are just like God of War.
Yeah.
Probably going to be Game of the Year. People I hear on YouTube, podcasts, anything.
Yeah.
They talk about God of War. So that's my prediction.
Yep.
Not necessarily what I want.
Yeah.
I haven't
Well,
played anything for 2018. So.
should we say our prediction but what we want?
Personal opinion?
Yeah.
I don't really have a personal opinion. I played Celeste this year.
Game of the Year, you can catch me at Tilted Towers. Yeah, nah, like, I reckon I'm probably the same. Like, I reckon God of War seems like to be like the one, right?
Yeah.
Part of me wants to say Spider-Man just because I love Spider-Man. But I haven't played either of them, so fuck
Fair
do
enough.
I know?
And what would you want? Would you want?
God,
Spider-Man?
what's come out? Yeah, I would say Spider-Man just for my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm God of War and I want God of War to win. So I'm biased.
I think God of War will win, but I really, really want Cyberpunk to be the best game to ever exist.
Game of the year for all
When-
previous
Fuck
years
Game of
and
the Year.
future years.
It's like-
I don't even think that's coming out next
Yeah,
year.
I saw a thing on Reddit that was just like, great news, guys. Based off of this, I think mid 2020s on the table, and I was like, 2020.
I think it'll come out 2077. Hey,
Wait, hold on.
Am I gonna be on the hype then?
Oh man, probably God of War, but I'm really holding out for Fallout 76. I'm really holding out for it. I think a lot of people have brushed it to the side and been like, it's multiplayer, fucking Bethesda, whatever. They're not going to.
I think it's going to be great.
I think it's going to be cool.
Good.
I think.
Let's just hope it doesn't fall to the same curse that Elder Scrolls Online does.
It will never. It will never.
It already from what we've seen, it just looks like I'm playing Fallout 4. And there's someone else that's playing the game shooting at me. Yeah. That already in itself, I'm going to have fun. I really think they really have to fuck it up for me to hate it.
But VATS.
See, apparently they took VATS out or something. Yeah. Or if it's real time, it doesn't slow time down.
But like, isn't that Fallout? Like, to me, using a fucking bolt action, like, just 1% chance, like, I don't know.
See, I used VATS heaps in New Vegas, but I didn't use it that much in...
I just never use VATS. I just aim.
Really?
VATS is like...
VATS is like, that's the game mechanic.
I guess I don't think they've talked... Well, they have. I just don't remember. There was definitely one video where they were talking about how they got VATS to work. And I'm probably going to watch it as soon as I get home, just so I can know after this. But I remember watching it and being like, that makes sense. So I'm hoping that it's done well. But you're right. It is definitely one of the fundamental things that Fallout has. So it does have to be done well.
Hopefully it will.
It'll still be fine.
It's not that long until it'll come out, so we'll be able to find out.
When is it? November?
November 12th?
November 12th, because then the new Pokemon game comes out November 14th, which is not going to get much playtime for 2 months.
Mario Party comes out tomorrow, but...
Oh,
yeah, you're right.
Does it really? Yeah. That would actually be fun to play online.
PogCast plays?
I've heard the opposite.
Let's go.
Alright. Before we go off on tangents, should we just...
We can do more. We'll do more.
We'll do more next week.
Yeah.
Alright,
next time on Dragon Ball Z.
So that's the end of the podcast. Thank you guys for watching if you made it to the end or listening, whatever the fuck you did. We will be back probably next week or the week after, depending on what the hell is going on. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Catch ya.
Wait, follow me on Twitch. Follow them too, they're great.
New followers, please.
We're done.
Good job, boys.